On this problem, you square the 3 to get 9 and then put minus. The square of the square root of 6 is just 6. 9 minus 6 is 3. On this one, you square the 4 to get 16 and square the square root of 5 to get 5. Answer should be 11. Square the 8 to get 64. The square of the square root of 30 is 30. So the answer is 34. On this problem, square the 5 to get 25, square the square root of 3 to get 3, and the answer is 22. Pick a number from 1 to 20. The winning numbers today are 2, 4, 9, 11, and 12. Bring up your homework. Show me what you have. 8 out of 14 is 57%. Here are the answers to the homework. Number 1 is 6 plus 3 square root of 2 over 2. 2 is 18 plus 6 square root of 2 over 7. 3 is 44 plus 11 square root of 6 plus 4 square root of 3, and the back end should be 3 square root of 2. All of that is over 10. On number 4, you should have 45 plus 5 square root of 6 plus 9 square root of 2 plus 2 square root of 3. Number 5 should be 54 plus 6 square root of 10 over 71. 6 is 32 plus 8 square root of 2 plus 4 square root of 3 plus square root of 6 over 14. And number 7 is 66 plus 11 square root of 7 plus 6 square root of 3 plus square root of 21. All of that over 29. And 8 is 80 plus 8 square root of 3 over 97. Number 9 should be 24 plus 2 square root of 6 over 69. 10 is 55 minus 5 square root of 10 over 11. 11 is 12 minus 4 square root of 2 minus 3 square root of 6 plus 2 square root of 3. And 12 is 16 minus 8 square root of 3 minus 2 square root of 10 plus 30, or plus square root of 30. And 13 should be 12 minus 4 square root of 2 minus 3 square root of 6 plus the square root of 12 should be 2 square root of 3. All of that over 7. And 14 is 54 minus 9 square root of 10 minus 6 square root of 7 plus square root of 70. All of that over 26. And then 15 could be negative 5 over 2 or a negative 2.5. If you put 2.5, I'll take that too. The objective is to simplify radical expressions. Here's example number 1. Just like yesterday, you have 3 plus square root of 2 on top and 4 minus square root of 6 on the bottom. You have to multiply the top and the bottom by that same expression that's on the bottom, except the sign will be different. So you have to make it plus instead of minus. On the top, when you multiply, it's 3 times 4, which is 12. And then 3 times the square root of 6 is 3 square root of 6. Square root of 2 times 4 is 4 square root of 2. And then square root of 2 times square root of 6 is square root of 12. On the bottom, you use the trick we learned yesterday, which is 4 squared is 16. And then square root of 6 squared is 6. 16 minus 6 is 10. On the top, check out the radical items, which is square root of 12, 2, and 6. This is simplified, and so is this. But this one you can break up as 4 and 3. So we'll scratch out the square root of 12 and make it 2 square root of 3. Square root of 4 times square root of 12 is, or square root of 3 is square root of 12. And the square root of 4 is 2. Now go back and look at 12, 3, 4, 2, and 10. We can't get a number out of all of those. So that would be your final answer. On this one, you have 2 plus the square root of 5 on the bottom, so you have to multiply the top and the bottom by 2 minus square root of 5. On the top, when you multiply, it's 5 times 2 first, and that's going to be 10. And then it's 5 times square root of 5. Notice the minus sign. So it's going to be minus 5 square root of 5. Then you go to this. Square root of 3 times 2 is 2 square root of 3. And then square root of 3 times square root of 5 is square root of 15. On the bottom, use the trick we learned yesterday, which was 2 squared is 4. Square root of 5 times itself is simply 5. So you end up with a minus 1 on the bottom. This, and this cannot be simplified any further. You have a 10, 5, 2, and a 1. That's not going to help us. But on the bottom, this negative 1 means you have to divide everything on the top by negative 1. So it changes the sign. You have negative 10 plus 5 square root of 5 plus 2 square root of 3 plus a square root of 15. Yeah, I just discovered that this should be a minus sign here, and this is a minus sign as well. There should have been, actually in this problem, when you start from here to there, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine, and this back here should have been a minus to start with. That's my fault. So we're good from here to there and there. That ends up being okay, but down here it is really a positive there. I just put a minus sign for some strange reason, but I've recorded here at the end that we made that correction. You have to multiply the top and the bottom by 6 plus square root of 7. And then when you do that, you end up with a 42 plus 7 square root of 7. And then minus 6 square root of 2 minus square root of 14. On the bottom, you'll have 36 minus 7, which is 29. Now check out these items here, 14, 2, and 7. There's nothing we can do with that. 42, 7, 6, 1, and 29 is just not going to work out, so this is your final answer. On this problem, it should be multiplying by 2 plus square root of 2 on the top and the bottom. When you do that, you have 8 plus 4 square root of 2 plus 2 square root of 6 plus square root of 12 over top of 2. Now you have to simplify the square root of 12 to 2 square root of 3. So we have a square root of 3, 6, and 2. Those are all simplified, but we have 8, 4, 2, and 2, all over 2. Now that means we can cut them all in half and make it 4 plus 2 square root of 2 plus square root of 6 plus square root of 3. Example 3. On this one you have a choice to make. You either simplify first or you do it later. It's best to do it first. The reason you'd have to simplify first is because you have the square root of 8. Don't leave that unsimplified before you go back through and multiply. So simplify the square root of 8. The top stays the same, but on the bottom, the square root of 8 breaks up as the square root of 4 square root of 2. And the square root of 4 is 2. So you have 2 square root of 2 instead of square root of 8 on the bottom. And once you have that, then you can go work the problem like you did before. And in this case, you would have to multiply the top and the bottom by the square, or not the square, but 3 plus the 2 square root of 2 over 3 plus 2 square root of 2. Now, when you multiply, you have 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 2 square root of 2. You're only multiplying the 5 by the 2 outside, which is 10, and the square root of 2 stays with it. You're done with the 5, so go to this, the square root of 2. Square root of 2 times 3 is 3 square root of 2. And then square root of 2 times 2 square root of 2. You can only multiply like terms together. So this 2 here just stays along. But now you have square root of 2 times square root of 2, which is what?
Square root of
2. Square root of 2 times itself is just 2. You already had a 2 there, so now you have 2 times 2, which is what? So we can scratch out that and just put 4. And then on the bottom, 3 squared is 9. 2 square root of 2 times itself. You have to do 2 squared first, which is what? 4. So we'll put down minus 4 times something. Square root of 2 squared is what? 2. So it's really 9 minus 8, which is a 1 that goes on the bottom. Now, you have to take a look at the things you can add together. First of all, the square root of 2 and 3 are simplified. You have a 15, 10, 3, and a 4 over 1. The 1's just going to disappear. We can't reduce any of that. But we can add 15 and 4 to get 19. And then the rest stays with it. Example 4. On this one, notice that you have square root of 12 on the top and square root of 8 on the bottom. From the last test we took, you know that you have to simplify that. So let's do that. And on the top we have 6. And what does the square root of 12 simplify to? 4 and 3, and then down to what? 2 square root of 3. What does 8 simplify to? The square root of 8.
4 and 2. 2 square root of 2.
2 square root of 2, yeah. Once you simplify both of those, then you can multiply the top and the bottom by 3 minus 2 square root of 2. And take it one step at a time. On the top, you have 6 times 3, which will be 18. Then it's 6 times the minus 2 square root of 2. So we know it's going to be minus. You're multiplying 6 by this 2 to get 12. The square root of 2 just stays with it. We're done with the 6. So go to the 2 square root of 3. 2 square root of 3 times 3. You're only multiplying 2 and 3 to get 6. The square root of 3 stays along. Now this times this. You multiply the 2's first, the outside 2's, to get 4. Remember that and hold it. Now, square root of 3 times square root of 2 is what? square root of 6. So remember, we had 2 times 2 is 4, and that should have been minus. I put a plus, that's a minus. 2 times 2 is 4, and then we had the square root of 6 from square root of 3 times square root of 2. The bottom, you just use the trick. Square that to get 9. This, we did one just like that on the previous one. If I square 2, I get 4. If I square the square root of 2, I get 2. 4 times 2 is 8. So you end up with a 1 on the bottom. So since there's a 1 on the bottom, we can get rid of it, but we have 18, 12, 6, and 4. You cannot reduce that because there's nothing underneath of it to reduce it with. So your final answer is 18 minus 12 square root of 2 plus 6 square root of 3 minus 4 square root of 6. On this one, you have a square root of 20 on top and a square root of 18 on the bottom. You can simplify that to 4 and 5, which would give you 2 square root of 5. And then on the bottom, the 18 breaks up as 9 and 2, which would be 3 square root of 2. You would multiply the top and the bottom by 3 minus 3 square root of 2. And then go back and multiply across the top. If you do that, you get 21 minus 21 square root of 2, and then minus 6 square root of 5 plus 6 square root of 10. And on the bottom, you would have 9 minus, now square the 3 to get 9, and square this to get 2, which is 18. 9 minus 18 is negative 9. Check out your radical terms. You can't simplify those. You have 21, 21, 6, 6, and 9. What comes out of all of them?
Negative 3.
You can take out a 3. So if I divide all of these by 3, I'll get a 7 there. And then a minus 7 square root of 2. Minus 2 square root of 5 plus 2 square root of 10. On the bottom, I would get a negative 3. Do not leave a negative sign on the bottom. Simply cancel it out and make the top the different sign. So it would be plus, wait. Make it plus. Make this one plus, this one would be a minus. You just change the signs. Drop the negative sign on the bottom, and then change the sign of everything on the top. That would be the final answer.